What is up? Welcome back. I need to get caught up on these videos. And unfortunately, there is still a ton of work to do, but I need to run through some stuff that I achieved between these two videos. It's nothing crazy. Part of it is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but mainly all that got done was the coil wires got extended so they will reach out from underneath the intake. And I had to order new injector plugs because I ran into injector problems. I have EV6 injectors, but I have EV1 to Delphi adapters. So I need EV1 to EV6 adapters. So the EV6 plug is on the way so I can make the adapter for it. The biggest problem that we have ran into so far is getting this manifold to work for us. I ended up having to move the shifter bracket. Everything still works fine. I cut the flange off. Originally the flange was hitting, but now it's pointed directly into the shifter rod. So to get around that, we are going to put a pie cut in it. Now, I have been working my ass off trying to get these pie cuts cut, and I ended up needing an extra set of hands. So I'm going to go ahead and put probably just one of these pie cuts in, but it's going to help me bend it so much faster. And I know they're a little thick. Normally, pie cuts are not this thick, but I don't have a TIG welder, so I can't get the really fine edge down in the bottom welded, so I had to leave some meat on it. But these are going to work absolutely just fine. This is just 2.5-inch exhaust tubing. The goal is to get this tacked into here, and then I can tip the collector towards the block and essentially make block huggers out of it, so I can still slip the exhaust out the back. It should work out just fine now. I just needed a nicer, cleaner cut than this one. And then, like I was saying, I needed a bigger piece down here, so I had more to weld onto since I don't have a TIG welder. Boy, am I whooped. This exhaust just kicked my ass. But check this out. We got a tip, not a shiny tip, unfortunately, but we got a tip, a muffler, a downpipe, and we are up here bolted in 100%. Everything is V-banded in, and the other side is the exact same. Just a little bit different bend up in it because the manifolds are casted different. But that is that for the exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap these coils on. Like I was saying, we got the coil extension done. So these will go ahead and sit in here like this, plug in. But I wanted to show you guys what to do to get your harness through your intake. So the deals are already kind of here. So all you gotta do is come in here and cut these out. And then you can cut the middle one out for the coil. Don't need this. And then the same here. And then you take your gasket and you can snap it back on. And all your stuff will pass underneath the gasket. This one does have a clip, so I'm just gonna take the clip and grind it off of the actual gasket. Let's go ahead and cut this clip off and this tab off, and then everything will pass underneath it with absolutely no problems. And then I'm gonna have to get these cleaned up because they're very oily, but I'm gonna get cracking on this, and I will check back once I get these notched out. All right, so I got everything notched out, and I did go ahead and leave the latch, actually. I just cut right underneath of it. I'm using a body saw to do it, and it actually flexed in there and cut it really nice. So I was able to leave the clip, and then these other ones, I just kind of notched them out. They don't have to look that great unless you're a perfectionist, and it's gonna be hidden anyway, so you'll never see it. So let's put it on the car, and I'll pop the coil wires out of it so you can see what it looks like. All right, so I got part of the intake plugged in, but it is just sitting here. I don't have the gaskets on it right now, but you will just pop your coils out the middle one, and then this injector and this injector will come out this one. Likewise for this one, and the other side is the same. If I had more time to get this done, I would shave this intake or put a new intake on it, but I don't even have time to order an intake. And then you take your, this is your MAF one, and your AIT. These are both for an LS, so I got a 3-wire MAF. And I like to run my AIT right about here, and then the MAF will come down I don't know if I'm gonna put it over here or over there yet, but it'll just sneak on the bottom side of the intake pipe, and I'll just weld little tabs on so I can zip tie it to the bottom and nobody will ever notice it. And then the temp sender and the 1-wire alternator plug will get hidden behind the alternator bracket like so, and plug in. And this will get pushed in there farther. It'll stay once all the gaskets and bolts are in. So that is how you clean wire one of these junk China harnesses. All right, so I went ahead and set the fuel rail on. I popped my injectors in it. I am waiting on the EV6 connector plug so I can do that. I don't remember if I said that or not, but this is what it will look like fully done. You'll just have 4 tiny little wires coming out, and it'll be in one loom and then they separate. So overall, it is a super clean look, even though it is a budget junkyard build. This is a very good way to clean up the wiring. There's no need to put it back on top where it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a break there. The next step we're going to do is start getting the gauges hooked up. And to do that, we have to use these little fittings. They are metric to NPT, and I'm using metric gauge, or not metric. I'm using mechanical gauges, so they use NPT fittings, and that is what these are for. If you're using the metric gauges, they'll plug right in, or the OEM gauges from in LS, they'll plug right in. I do know if you want to run a tack on these, it is better to run a 4-cylinder tack. I don't remember why, but that's just what they say. I also need to get these 3 wires ran back out. The purple's the starter. These 2 go to the battery. And this one was the distributor on the small block, so I'll go into the car and take that one out of the fuse box. So I'll get these ones routed back up around, all nice and clean, run it down, hook it into the starter. I do need to take the manifolds off to fix a couple things and finish hooking up the starter. My starter wire is just kind of hanging out right now, and I need to get these wires buttoned up so they don't rub on the manifold. But we'll get into all that, and that's pretty much, for the most part, the motor in and everything ready to rip. All of the engine plugs are their own style plug, so that is no problem. I will go ahead and go into this harness, and I will pop a picture up so you guys can get a rough idea if you don't know which connectors are what. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick some of these tools up because it is an absolute disaster around here, and I should have never let it get this far, but it's just kind of what happens when you just dive into things and you don't take breaks and you just keep rolling. I probably have 200 hours in the last 2 weeks between work and training and this, and I'm wore out, and I'm ready to put the tools away and take a break. I need to get some videos edited so I can get them posted. I have 2 of them so far. They're just not edited. Now this one, so 3, and then I'll be back into this tomorrow to make more, and it's gonna get really complicated if I don't start doing it. So the work don't stop, it's just in a different part. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, and we're gonna get this thing done in time for LS Fest, May 18th.